Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Today I want to talk about Western companies in Russia 2 years on from the media prediction of the mass exodus from Russia by Western brands, and has it happened? Well, since March 2022, only 387 companies have actually completely left the Russian market. 1,223 have reduced their activities, and another 2,100 continue to operate. This list includes major producers of electronics, clothing, furniture and cosmetics. Well, so why are so many companies staying in the Russian market? Well, first of all, money. The doom and gloom that the West's shock and awe sanctions were going to destroy the Russian economy turned out to be completely wrong. In fact, the opposite happened. The Russian economy, far from cratering, has enjoyed high levels of growth, and wages and consumer spending are up, while some of the home markets of those companies have actually suffered quite badly. Also, the losses for those who left have pretty been colossal. In 2022, foreign companies that left Russia have lost more than 107 billion in write-offs and lost revenues. That was calculated by Reuters on the basis of their company documents and accounts. BP, for example, estimated its losses from leaving Russia at 25 billion, which is significant even by the standards of a transnational giant. And also, moving production and supply chains also takes time and costs money. For some companies, the process turned out to be far more complex and costly than they expected, says Vadim Petrov, who's the chairman of the Public Diplomacy Association. As a result, foreign companies that were planning to leave Russia under the pressure of sanctions began to change their minds, Financial Times reported. Now, this was because they encountered various bureaucratic obstacles when selling their businesses, and they couldn't rely on market prices to sell them at. Now, many companies were caught between a rock and a hard place as a result of the regulatory measures introduced by Russia. For example, Russia introduced a mandatory 50% discount on the value of assets from unfriendly countries when sold to Russian buyers. Now, there's also an exit tax of at least 15% on any revenues, and many companies have been building up their Russian assets for over 3 decades, and they've got factories and interests in different regions, and they want to be forced to lose this market that they spent years building up, and they're not happy about selling their assets for next to nothing, and also then having to pay compensation on top of that. Plus, they have a problem finding those willing to buy them who are not on the sanctions list. That's according to Nadezhda Kasputina, who's a professor at the Department of Economic Security and Risks at the Russian Financial University. Now, as a result of this, according to the Kiev School of Economics, which is a basically propaganda outfit in Kiev for the CIA and the Western media, more than 2,100 transnational companies announced their imminent departure, but they're still doing business in Russia. The majority have stayed because it's easier and more profitable to stay and make money than being popular with politicians at home. Now, economists note that the systematic measures introduced by Russia have proved to be extremely well thought out and effective. They've made the sale of assets very unprofitable. In addition, there's so many administrative barriers to the exit of Russia, including the need to get permits for the sale of assets and the withdrawal of capital. They're just not particularly looking forward to it. A good example is Air Liquide, who are a major producer of industrial gases. They signed a memorandum of the sale of its Russian business to its local managers. However, the deal's never been approved by the Russian government, and it's still not happened. Right. But finally, one of the main reasons why Western companies refuse to leave is the profitability of their businesses. Western players don't really want to leave a market quickly and painlessly that they're making so much money in. Companies look for ways around it to stay in Russia. Coca Cola, for example, stopped selling Coca Cola in Russia. But this was done by its subsidiary in the region, Coca Cola Hellenic, which it has a 20% stake in. In August 2022, they set up a separate Russian company called Molten Partners, whose Russian versions of Coca Cola brands include Good Coke and Good Cola, which allegedly have replaced the original as the country's bestseller, but they're actually pretty much the same. Now, consumer activity is booming, and the Russian economy has not fallen into the black hole as predicted by the Western economists. I mean, for example, according to a study by the Yale School of Management, companies that have remained in Russia continue to generate significant revenues from their operations. And for some companies, this amounts to as much as 5 to 10% of their global sales. So not surprisingly, major companies like Mondelez, Unilever, Nestle and Philip Morris openly state that they're investors and they don't care about the moral considerations, it's money for them. However, some of those who have decided not to leave have explained their presence on humanistic grounds. I mean, Avon tried to sell its Russian business and got some offers, but decided not to accept them, and it said, for more than 135 years, Avon has empowered women wherever they are, regardless of their ethnicity, nationality, age or religion. Oh yeah, really, hand on heart, it's not about profits, it's about my empathy and humanity. Yeah, fine. In March 2022, PepsiCo announced it would stop selling and producing its, sugary cola, basically, in Russia. But it continues to sell its dairy products and baby food. This is probably due to the fact it's invested billions into the production capacity and the important market that Russia is for these products. Now, more than ever, we need to stay true to our humanitarian aspects of our business, says the PepsiCo's Ramon Laguarta. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. Now, many companies do have long-term contracts with Russian partners and customers, and breaking these contracts probably do have legal consequences that can result in heavy fines. Dura lex, sed lex, as the lawyers like to say. Now, believing the market can affect the use of licenses and patents in the regions, as notes Petrov. In fact, each of those companies have faced a choice: stay and be punished at home, or leave and lose the customers and your profits in the market. Plus, exit taxes. Now, they've added points to the let's stay scale, and what's interesting, it was a large amount of European companies that left compared with American companies who actually stayed. I mean, a big example is Burger King. I think that's probably because it's a franchise. I mean, as they say, a holy place is never empty, so its competitors who left, like McDonald's, were quickly replaced by domestic alternatives who look the same, like nice and tasty, they call it, or crispy chicken. Now, while they may come back in the future and place things like the fashion market, that's possible. The car market's gone forever for many brands like Volkswagen, Ford, Mercedes and Renault. Russians are not going to forget that they were not only cut off from software updates and spare parts, but, they were left in the lurch. Now, according to Unilever Nelson Peltz, he says, if we leave Russia, they take our brands for themselves and we will lose them, and that doesn't suit us. Anyway, so that's the current situation in the Russian sector. Don't believe everything you hear in the Western media. In fact, don't believe any of it. Now, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me fund the channel and the website, SCOBRICSinsight.com, by clicking on the thank you button at the bottom of the screen. Thank you, and see you all again soon. Goodbye.